Hey guys, Sean Evans here at Back to the Movies. Now, it's very late here in the UK and I was just about to go to bed. I open up my laptop, check a few emails, and I see that J.K. Rowling has brought out a new book. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, this is huge news. Like, what's going on? Now, the IckaBog was written whilst J.K. Rowling was working on Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. She states categorically that the IckaBog is not in any way, shape or form a spin-off of Harry Potter, even though the IckaBog does sound like one of those creatures from Harry Potter that just didn't quite make the cut. The IckaBog has come out today. It has been released today and it is free for people to read. Now, J.K. Rowling originally wrote the manuscript for this book and kept it in the attic. She gave up writing after doing Harry Potter, didn't see any need for it, and the only two people that ever heard this story were J.K. Rowling's two children. Fast forward 10 years later, and she thought, why not bring this story to people during isolation? And she had the feedback from her children 10 years later of what they remembered from the story when they were little, and after a few rewrites, it is now released, or 2 chapters have been released online for us to read right now, with chapters being released periodically up until July the 10th, I believe. Okay, so I have just read the first 2 chapters and I'm a little bit rusty, so I've got some notes over here. So in the first chapter, we meet Fred the Fearless, who is the ruler of the kingdom of Cornucopia, this thriving kingdom that seems to almost run itself as King Fred struts about his day, not needing to worry about the kingdom or ruling over it because everything is doing well. The land is prosperous, so he can just put his feet up and go hunting with his 2 friends, and his 2 friends are called Lord Spittleworth and Lord Flapoon. They swan around the place. There's not a care in the world. Now, as we get this first chapter 1, it feels as though almost when you're reading it as though it needs like a background theme music. It feels very bouncy, it's very vibrant, it feels very Alice in Wonderland, like you're going through another magical kingdom that has a very childish sort of vibe to it, whereas Harry Potter was more serious, maybe more innocent with the Philosopher's Stone. But as there was more and more sequels, the books matured as the characters matured with them. This one has a very innocent, childlike first chapter, and we're bouncing along, just listening to the beautiful descriptions of the delicacies of this land. And we are given a description of the other side of Cornucopia, known as the Marshlands, which is an area where the residents are described as dirty, surly, ill-tempered, a bit like Stoke City after losing a football match. I'm sorry, I had to. Yeah, every word from that first chapter is bouncy, it's vibrant, it's joyful, and it's playful. And then in chapter 2, we start to explore the myth of the IckaBog, which is a creature that devours sheep and children. Now, this second chapter is very, very strange because it's gone from a very vibrant opening introductory chapter to telling the story of a young child called Bert Beamish, who is adamant that the sheep in the local area are being eaten by this creature. And it goes from very joyful to very dark very quickly. It's almost gone from Philosopher's Stone to Deathly Hallows in the space of a chapter. And it's very dark. And for children lying in bed, for 28-year-old Sean reading it with sheep literally outside of that very window in the field behind me, I'm genuinely worried for their well-being tonight after reading that story. Thanks, J.K. Rowling. You ruined my childhood with Death Eaters and had me scared stiff for days on end after reading that and seeing the films that made it even worse. And now I've got to worry about the sheep behind me being devoured by this murderous little myth. A very cool introductory first 2 chapters. I can't wait to see where the story develops. It's got like it feels as though it should be a movie already, which is very weird to me. The actual contrast between the moods there was very night and day. It was very instant, and you're getting straight into the myth of this IckaBog, and we find out maybe if it's real or not, or if it's just a story that the parents tell these children, you know, to keep them well behaved. But I'm sure we'll find out in more chapters to come. I've left the full description review in the box below, and yeah, I just think it's fun. It's nice to see J.K. Rowling putting something out there for free. There will be a published book in November, and all the proceeds from that book will go into a coronavirus fund, I believe. And she's also asking fans from around the world to contribute contribute artwork that may be featured in one of those published printed books as well. Yeah, that's all I can say, guys. It's very, very late here, so this review might have been much less detailed because my brain's shutting down as we speak. But thank you very much for sticking with me. Thank you very much for subscribing. As always, if you haven't, please do so. Hit the like button, drop a little comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.